Hi and welcome to W2 Kitchen, where today we're making Shabu-Shabu. Shabu-Shabu is a Japanese hot pot dish. You can use any vegetables you like. I think that mushrooms suit the dish very well. Greens definitely work. You can use any thinly sliced beef, anything that's going to create a good texture because we're not cooking it for too long, so no tough cuts. We're going to start by making some dashi. So for that you have water. Then turn the stove on. We've got a dashi bag for this one. If you have a spare piece of kombu lying around your kitchen, we're going to make a sesame paste. First, we're going to add our sesame seeds into a blender. These are toasted sesame seeds. The flavor is more intense, toasty aromas. And then we're going to put some sugar in, vinegar, and a splash of soy sauce. Also going to put a pinch of salt in there. I've also added a little bit of dashi. I'm just going to pass it through a sieve. So traditionally you'd use sesame paste, which is made of ground sesame, and it's ground so finely that you wouldn't have to pass it through a sieve. Sort of the same consistency as tahini, just it's roasted, whereas tahini isn't. That's our goma dare, or sesame sauce, done. We've also got ponzu. Use a store-bought one. The best ones like citrus and katsuobushi or tuna flake ponzu. Because I prefer when it's aged together, store-bought is better than homemade for a last-minute addition. So our dashi's been simmering for a while, so we're just going to taste it. Best way to do it is not use something metal. Yeah, so our dashi's infused nicely. Now we're going to quickly prepare all of our vegetables. So enoki, we're going to cut the base off. Then we're just going to tear it apart into barely individual mushrooms. Take the roots off the spring onion, trim off the tops because they're very dehydrated. I like to do this on an angle. And then Chinese cabbage. I like when it's quite big pieces. I don't know why, but this is one of the few vegetables that I think when it's overcooked, it genuinely tastes better. It just soaks up all the dashi and or stock or whatever you're cooking, and just making the shiitake look nice. Or trying to, probably failing at it, but you know. Shimeji, we're just going to break those apart. Make sure they're broken apart as well. Separation looks nicer. And the shongiku, we're just going to take the nice leaves. So that's our plate of vegetables prepared. I'm going to start putting the vegetables in. I've got the white parts of the Chinese cabbage. We're going to add that just to the side here. And then we've got the shiitake. So I'm using the vegetables that will take the longest time to cook. The Chinese cabbage will soak up a lot of the flavor of the dashi, and then the shiitake will add more flavor to the dashi. And then we've got shimeji, and finally enoki, and then we're going to let that cook down for a little bit. So our mushrooms have cooked down. Our cabbage, I like to leave it in there until the very end, so it doesn't matter too much about that. Now we're going to add the spring onions. Just make sure they're all submerged, and the tops of the cabbage. Then all of our greens. Don't worry about overfilling it, because we're going to take some of it out before we start cooking the beef, and the greens will cook down a lot. Traditionally, this is something that you'd eat at the table with the stove cooking in between people. So after our spring onions have cooked down a little bit, we're going to start plating, and then we'll cook the beef. So we can start plating this up now. The best way to do that is take some of the dashi out and just use that to heat the bowl. And then keep a little bit in the water. And because it's in between people, you can sort of take what you particularly want to eat, more or less of it. I'm going to put some enoki in. I'm going to put everything in, except for the Chinese cabbage. Take some of the greens. I don't know which one's original. That's definitely shungiku. This actually looks pretty good. So I'm just going to quickly cook off the spring onions, the finely shaved ones. We can add the outside leaves of the top of the leaves of the haksai, Chinese cabbage. And then now we've got enough space to start cooking up beef. So the idea is to shabu-shabu is about the noise that it makes. That's why the dish is called shabu-shabu. So let's have a bowl of shabu-shabu, and then we keep taking and restocking the nabe while we're eating dinner. And then we have ponzu and goma, and that's our dipping sauce. So because the dashi is unseasoned, we seasoning our... So then it becomes like I think of it as a little game. Because you can sort of pick and choose what you want to season your vegetables and meat and all of the stuff that we put inside. That's shabu-shabu done.